Good afternoon, boys and girls. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. So, last week we went over the rules of how to play in a basketball game, and we went over passing. Now today we're going to continue to work on passing. Okay, we're going to work on 2 passes, just like in the last class session. So we worked on overhead passing, and we went over baseball passing. But we were working individually. So today we're going to work in partners, we're going to work in stations, all right? And then once we're done working in stations, we'll discuss how our lesson went. Now, before we work in stations, we need to get warmed up. So can I have everyone please be arm distance apart, lined up, and let's begin our warm-up. Ready? Begin. Okay, boys and girls, so now that we're done with our warm-up, we can now begin our stations. So I'm going to demonstrate the stations first, and then once I'm done demonstrating the stations, you will have the opportunity to work with your partner. Okay, so for the first station, we're going to work on our baseball passing. So remember that when we're doing baseball passing, we want to make sure that we're in a quarterback position, meaning we want to have one foot in front of the other. Usually it's our dominant foot in front of the least dominant foot, or if you're more comfortable, you could have the least dominant foot in front of you and the most dominant foot behind you. Okay, however you like, but as long as you are in a comfortable position to perform the pass. Now when we're doing a baseball pass, remember that we're passing with only one arm. Okay, so that means that arm should be your dominant arm, not our least dominant arm. Now when doing a baseball pass, remember that the ball has to be right behind your head. Okay, it can't be on the side of your head, and it can't be in front of your head. All right, it has to be behind the head. So remember, quarterback position, so the arm is in front, just like this, the least dominant arm, right? And our most dominant arm is up, it's right behind our head. Now, when doing a baseball pass, we want to make sure our hips are driving forward, okay, not backwards. So we drive our hips forward, okay, remember the ball is right behind our head, all right? And then once you bring the ball to head level, just like this, you want to release, okay? So for example, again, our feet are shoulder width apart, okay, one foot's in front of the other. Have your least dominant arm right in front of you, extended just like this, okay, to create balance. Have the most dominant arm with the ball, okay, on the hand, just like this. And then once you bring the ball at head level, release, and then follow through afterwards, okay? That is a baseball pass. Now, baseball passes occur in a full court basis, okay? So if your teammate is all the way on the other side of the court, that's when you want to perform the baseball pass, okay? So again, one more time, let me demonstrate it for you so that way we're not confused. Quarterback position, one foot in front of the other. Our least dominant arm is extended just like this, okay? Remember, bring the ball right, behind your head, okay? Now, don't have it too far out, don't have it too far in, right? Nice and straight, okay? Create that 90-degree angle, all right? Make sure you have an L shape, okay? Just like this, and then release the ball, okay? Release the ball right at head level, all right? And then follow through afterwards. That will be the baseball pass. You're gonna be doing this with your partner, both of you, and then once you release the ball, your partner will catch the ball, and it'll be their turn to perform the pass. Okay, so we're gonna do that back and forth. All right. Now, once you're doing that back and forth, you and your partner will decide if you want to increase the distance, the passing distance, or decrease it. Okay, so that's up to you, but you have to decide that with your partner. Okay, so that way you can perform the pass as accurate as possible and become successful doing it. Okay, so you have the option again to increase or decrease the distance. Other than that, let's begin with our second station. All right, students, so now that we're done with our first station, let's begin our second station. So for our second station, we're gonna work on overhead passing. Now, we went over this again last week, but let me demonstrate to you how to do overhead pass, so that way we know what needs to be done. Now, remember, with overhead passing, it usually occurs when you're outside of bounds or inside of bounds. Overhead passing is almost the same as when you're in soccer, right? Remember we went over our soccer unit? When we're in soccer, right, if the ball goes out of bounds, you have the option to, again, do an overhead pass, right? That's basically the only option you have in soccer is, right, to do an overhead pass, towards your teammate. It's the same thing in basketball, except this time you could do it outside of bounds or inside of bounds. So when doing an overhead pass, okay, you want to make sure that our feet are shoulder width apart and our knees are slightly bent, okay? Once in this position, we want to make sure again that the ball is above our heads. That's why it's called an overhead pass, right? Because the ball is above our heads, all right? And once we're in this position, okay, we want to make sure that our elbows are in, just like this, all right? Now, to create force and to make sure that the ball goes for distance, you you want to have the ball as back as possible behind the head, okay? And then once you bring it at eye level, okay, bring the arms forward to eye level, you want to release the ball, okay? So that's when you want to release the ball, is you want to release the ball at eye level, all right? Now again, remember to keep the elbows in, just like this, okay? Now you also want to make sure that if you want to create also more force, you can take a step forward, okay, and release at eye level, all right? So that's going to be an overhead pass. Now, when doing an overhead pass, this is going to be with the modified activity, meaning there's going to be 3 hula hoops in front of you, okay? Each hula hoop is going to be at a different distance, all right? So, one hula hoop could be at 5 feet apart from you, the other one could be 7 feet, or the other one could be 10 feet, and your partner is going to be on the other side. So your job is to do the overhead pass, okay, keeping the elbows in, all right, releasing at eye level, and you're going to try to throw that ball into that hula hoop, okay? So again, this is going to challenge you to be more accurate, right, and use more power, because again, each hula hoop is going to be at a different distance, all right? So you get to choose exactly which hula hoop you want to practice doing the overhead pass, all right? So we're gonna practice doing that, and then once we're done with our second station, okay, we'll wrap it up and we'll talk about today's lesson. Now, when doing our stations, you're gonna have the option to use a regular size basketball, and I also have some smaller size basketballs that you can use, okay, especially for doing the baseball pass, because I know when we do the baseball pass, it's gonna be really hard to get that ball on one hand, all right? So that's gonna be the most difficult part, but again, you have the option to use a regular size basketball or a smaller basketball. Now, there are task cards at each station, okay? So if you're confused on what needs to get accomplished, just look at the task card. It's gonna tell you exactly what needs to be done, so that way you are successful in the station. Now, remember to rotate clockwise, okay? And if you have any questions, please ask. I'm gonna be walking around making sure everyone participates. But other than that, you may begin the stations. Ready? Begin. All right, boys and girls, so now that we're done with our stations, please bring it in. Please form half a circle in front of me and take a seat. All right, I saw a lot of improvement from everyone. Everyone did an amazing job. We were making sure we were keeping our elbows in when we were doing the overhead pass, and then we were also creating that L shape, right, when we were doing our baseball pass. So we did an amazing job. We were displaying correct technique. So for next week, okay, for our next class session, I want you to research new types of ways of how to pass in a basketball game, okay? I only showed you 2, but there's so many out there, okay? There's a lot of inside passes you can do. There's also passes you can do involving some type of trick, okay? So there's many out there in basketball, all right? Once we're done with passing, okay, we're gonna go into dribbling. And then once we're done with dribbling, we're gonna go into our games, okay? So I hope we're all excited for that. But other than that, if you have any questions, please stay after class. Class is dismissed. Thank you.